Stephen Jules Radio Show.
Sunday evening. Today was a little bit muggy, humid today, and I wanted to talk about basically on the show tonight about people were thinking Broken Hill as well. Couldn't even get electricity. You know how frustrating this actually happened to us this year. It was a 40-degree day, and our provider, Endeavour Energy, I think there was a blackout, switched off all the power. Now, you got to understand, there are people out there that have pre-existing health conditions and can't deal with the heat. And that's understandable. They need to have the air conditioning on. But for these electricity companies that won't even give people a backup generator, at least for the day, all right. Now, you got to tell me, like, you got Chris Bowen, okay. All right, he whinging about, we need solar panels. All right. Yeah, we have natural disasters as well going on, floods, bushfires in Australia. Yeah, there was a butcher up in Broken Hill because the power was off. He had to chuck away all the meat. And that's basically money gone down the drain. And just think about it like this. Businesses have to rely on electricity. All right. Now, you realize how frustrating it is when you have to basically rely on electricity companies, and then on a 40-degree day or it's a hot night, they decide to switch the power off and have a blackout. I mean, that's just unacceptable. I noticed this week that it was the last 2 nights ago, it was so hot during the night. Because we don't have the air conditioning running during the night. Maybe you could put it on for a bit or cycle it. I don't know. But we don't. Try to not rely on it too much. But at times, see, this is the problem where electricity has just gone up in so much in price, and then summer's coming around, winter as well. And I've said it. I said it, I think, on the last episode about how health experts are telling us to get that between 7 to 8 hours sleep. But how can you sleep on a very hot night? You just can't. All right. Now, like I say, you go to the Northern Territory at this time of the year. This is in Australia, by the way. They don't talk about the heat up there, which is 10 times. Like every night, I told you guys, you go around Lynchfield National Park, around Kakadu, it's like 30. It's like 30 degrees in the nighttime. And then in the morning, it's like in the high 20s. See, the heat kills. Dehydration kills. There's something why the heat is one of the most dangerous in Mother Nature. Same as the winter, but more the heat. Fatigue sets in. told you dehydration. If you're taking medications, I know I was, you can get affected by the heat more because they can end up drying your mouth out, so you dehydrate quicker than you need to. Drink more water. I mean, all they can advise us is to just stay hydrated and just drink as much water as we can. No, but I'm just telling you guys how slack it is. All right. With all these blackouts going around, this is what the Labor government has costed us. All right. Not all schools in New South Wales have air conditioning. Okay. Labor government is not investing in coal. All right. I know under the ScoMo government, electricity was at and petrol was at a far better price, much easier to handle than all this net zero bullshit that we've got to put up with. And look, this is just what it's just become. Is coal-fired power stations the way to go for the future? Okay. Now, the coalition government was always about businesses keeping taxes lower. Cheaper oil prices, cheaper petrol prices, tobacco, alcohol, etc. Although there was GST added 10%. Goods and services tax. Now, everything we buy in the shops is taxed. We all pay tax on our groceries, GST. You notice it on your receipt, okay? But what gets to me is when blackouts are happening across the state, and politicians in Canberra, guys, are just profiting from electricity companies and getting big money out of it. Okay. They decided to close Penrith Beach. People couldn't go out and have a swim in the heat because it was too hot. Okay. Now, I've always heard that it's getting hotter every year. Okay. Now, it's not that it's getting hotter, it's just when they start removing so many trees and building a lot of concrete on the footpaths, because the concrete really absorbs the heat. And then when we chop down too many trees, well, there's not enough shade, isn't there? So that's another thing too. Now, I don't want to get into all environmental stuff and hippie culture here, but the term climate change is basically destroying the environment and global warming. I mean, come on, guys. Seriously? Just all we can do with the heat is just stay as cool as we can, but it's just quite slack to turn people's electricity off on a 40-degree day. Endeavour Energy, thank you very much. And then there was a whole blackout. This happened earlier this year, by the way. I've talked about La Nina and El Nino on the show quite a bit. Something that interests me. Okay. But, yeah, which brings me to my next point about rains and thunderstorms are expected to hit New South Wales as well, which is good. We need some rain at least. Yeah, we need rain. Basically, yeah, definitely need rain. A lot of rain. Well, not too much rain, but we need enough rain. Australia's gone through drought as well. Okay. So basically, the point I'm trying to make is I'm just getting sick and tired of this situation that's happening. Okay. I really am. I'm getting fed up because it's just starting to get not fair. On all right. It really is not fair. Okay. Obviously, the Christmas is coming up. Victoria's issued another health warning for another rise in coronavirus cases, which is, something out of our control. I think I've got to get me booster shot next week for COVID-19. I mean, all you can do is just stay up to date with your boosters and your vaccines. Just take precautions. Stay home if you're not well. Again, it seems to me that this virus, the symptoms are so similar, pretty much the same with the variants: the runny nose, sore throat, cough, shortness of breath, fever, chills, and sweats. All symptoms: headache, muscle soreness, fatigue, nausea, vomiting, diarrhea, loss of smell and taste, and loss of appetite. All I can say is, it's we're definitely going to keep hearing about this virus in the future, but can't let it stop us living our lives. Okay. After catching it twice myself, all I can say is just, stay up to date on your boosters. I mean, I'm not a GP, but from what the research says, it's, that's all we can do. Okay. That's all we can do. But anyway, the sad tragedy of what happened in the Laos hostel, where Holly Bowles and Bianca Jones, they consume methanol drinks. Apparently these were drinks that were vodka or something given for free, and these two people sadly lost their lives in this place. Now, how could such a situation at a backpackers hostel happen in Laos? Obviously, someone has done this on purpose. Okay. Melbourne teenagers Holly Bowers and Bianca Jones died one day apart last week in separate Thai hospitals, quote Sky News Australia. A fundraiser for the families of the two girls has raised more than $380,000 in less than a week, quote Sky News Australia. Okay. Free shots that were offered by staff at the bars and clubs. But then you've got to question, is it worth taking the free shot of vodka? Quote, everything was going on the exact same. In the clubs, they were offering free shots, and if you didn't take them, they'd look at you like, why won't you have the free shot? She said, quote, Sky News Australia. Yeah, this is quite sad, guys, that this would happen, and this needs to have a serious investigation. These people have tragically lost their lives because of this. And just sorry, guys, I don't know what happened there. Can edit that out, of course. This is podcasting on Rumble, obviously. So if it dropped out and came back, I do apologize. I don't know what happened. Must have accidentally pushed the wrong button. That's my fault. I don't know. No, but going back to this situation, it's quite sad, and people have been.
The Lao government has broken its silence following the deaths of at least 6.
People have been warned about this hostel in these methanol deaths at this time. All right. And there's been some negative reviews written, and yeah, if you go and research it, I don't understand in the first place why they are serving free drinks, and doesn't that come across as a bit sketchy? Okay. So that's this needs to be taken very seriously. All right. That's, yeah. So the hostel is closed at the moment. Charges are yet to be laid over the deaths of the 6 tourists as an investigation continues, quote, Sky News Australia, quote. Yeah, it's yeah, what can I say, guys, honestly? The Laos government needs to investigate this as well. The Laos authorities needs to investigate it. So, yeah, justice just needs to be served out of this, because this is just... How could someone be so slack to do that? Yeah, it's very disheartening, honestly, and it's just not good at all. All right, not good. Okay. Now, this week in Parliament, all right, there was some problems with Fatima Payman and Pauline Hanson. Now, Fatima Payman has a dual citizenship for Australia. Now, this happened with Jackie Lambie, where she had to, I think, leave Parliament and get re-elected again, which made it quite difficult. Lydia Thorpe had her tantrum. She's apparently suspended from Parliament. I don't know what she done now. Yeah, I mean, I'm just getting sick and tired of all the drama that's going on up there in state government, federal politics. About this is to do with Section 44 of the Constitution. States that, quote, any person who is under any acknowledgement of allegiance, obedience, or adherence to a foreign power is a subject or a citizen or entitled to the rights or privileges of a subject or a citizen of a foreign power shall be incapable of being chosen or of sitting as a senator or a member of the House of Representatives, quote. Yeah, Sky News Australia. Now, Fatima Payman as an Afghan citizen that is violating the provisions of the section and is incapable of being a senator, quote. So basically 2018, when Section 44, okay, had something to do with the high court, this is where it gets complicated with citizenship, okay? Citizenship, wherever you're going, can happen to anyone. All right. It can get quite complicated, okay? All right. I don't know how this is going to play out, but Lydia Thorpe having her tantrum. I don't know what's going on with Lydia Thorpe lately. What's she done now? Okay. Yeah, look. This is, I don't know, an issue that I don't know how it's going to be sorted. Dual citizenship. This has nothing to do with racism at all. This is citizenship. As you know, citizenship is a complicated system, process to prove who you are. So, Fatima Payman's lived in Australia for over 15 years as a dual citizen for the country. All right. Yeah. I don't know what's going on. All right. I don't know what is going on lately in politics. But, yeah. It's getting quite crazy. Okay. Getting quite crazy as well. So we'll have to wait and see what the Constitution plays out or how the Constitution works. Again, it's a huge legal document written up. Yeah, just have to wait how it plays out, of course. Yeah. Sure. Just crazy stuff going on. Really crazy stuff. Now, it's like University of Sydney as well. is denying anti-Semitism going on campus. People are literally camping at the university, protesting for Palestine, saying free Palestine. Has anti-Semitism gone way too far in Australia? Okay. That's stuff that needs to be addressed. Okay. Because it's. I mean, Dr. Phil did talk about the whole Hamas situation and Palestine. It's, to me, I don't know what's going on with universities now. Why they want to start becoming so far left and so woke than ever before. What's happened to Australia, guys? All right. That's what I'd like to know. What has happened to Australia? All right. But it's the ABC as well. Apparently they're having problems with Joe Rogan. I don't know what's happened now with the ABC. Okay. Kim Williams is apparently had some backlash against Joe Rogan. But Joe Rogan, like, is one of the biggest podcasters on the internet. Okay. Yeah. Basically one of the biggest podcasters online. So he's got some 14, as soon as he publishes an episode, it's like 14 million downloads or plays. So I don't know what the ABC is complaining about. The ABC is a taxpayer-funded station network. Yeah, that's just how it is. Okay. That's, yeah. The problems with media in Australia, like I said, we talked about the whole cancel culture stuff. All right. That's what we talked about quite a lot on the show, is how cancel culture is affecting the industry and the entertainment industry as well going through. Because I'm getting sick of it, honestly. I'm getting fed up with people being silenced, okay, and not having their voices heard for the world. All right. Now, let's talk about Vladimir Zelensky. Vladimir Zelensky. Okay. Now, has this invasion of Ukraine been successful under Vladimir Putin? Because when Vladimir Putin, Russia invaded Ukraine, I can remember that's when all the oil and gas prices, especially oil, that's when it all started going up. And then from then on, businesses, corporations, banks pulled out of Russia, did not want to do business with Russia anymore because of this war and the invasion that happened. And if you can remember, quite a few years ago, Russia actually did go into Ukraine and I think they were patrolling the place. But nothing happened. What was the cause for Vladimir Putin to decide, well, it's time to start war with Ukraine after how many years? Was this the sign of World War III that was on the cards? Okay. Now, could Donald Trump end the war that was around Kyiv? And then this is where it gets complicated. Can Donald Trump start to bring peace? Because apparently it just gets complicated as much as it is, okay? All right. Now, not everyone will agree with me, and that's okay. But yeah, you guys can definitely read the news more about this stuff, because I may say differently to you. All right. But yeah, that's just how it is. I mean, speaking of Joe Rogan as well, he's got a huge mansion. It's like at least 22 million, roughly 22 million, okay? Obviously decided to move to Texas because of the remember all the COVID lockdowns and that stuff, okay? So basically you moved to Austin, Texas, and purchased a US 14.4 million mega mansion, which he records the Joe Rogan Experience. I think that's roughly 22 million Australian. That it is. But yeah, I mean, Joe Rogan's done a lot of hard work to get to where he is. Okay, it didn't become successful overnight. All right. But just obviously goes to show that, yeah, hard work just pays off in the end. Okay. So that's just how it is. I mean, is the left jealous at Joe Rogan because, started moving to more the conservative way, the conservative views, basically as you notice, he's more talking spirituality lately. Never used to. It used to be a very old school left, but people's opinions change, of course. Okay. But that's just what it is. Okay. Okay, that's the problem we've got. Okay. It's yeah. Yeah, I'm just getting fed up, sick and tired of bureaucrats out there that just want to control everything. All right. I'm really just over it. Okay. Cheap renewable energies. Chris Bowen going on about cheap renewable energies. Okay. That's apparently cheaper than coal. I don't know. All right. But the way I see it, it's just not fair to have your electricity turned off on a 40-degree day. Okay. That is just not fair. All right. Now, to do that to people is just slack. Okay. I believe that there needs to be a lot of changes ahead in the system. All right. That's yeah, needs to happen. Needs to be a lot of changes out there. Now, obviously, the Western Sydney Airport is something that I just see as a grain of salt. Okay. Grain of salt, the flight paths, it's very complicated. Sydney Airport, domestic airport, they have a curfew. Pilots can't be landing there at certain times of the evening. Sydney Airport as well is too overcrowded. That's the problem with it. Domestic and international. All right. The Western Sydney Airport, if you can remember, they were talking about Badgerys Creek Airport some 50 odd years ago. It was like a dream back then. All right. I never. How do I put it like this? I never basically paid a lot of attention to it because it's out of my control. When things are in the government's control, it's out of my control. Okay? So there's no use me wasting my time dwelling on, when they're going to build an airport. Should I get my hopes up by 2026 to build an airport? I don't even know if I'm going to be alive tomorrow. There have been many government projects that have started but never been completed up there. So obviously they've got to really plan it out, and they have to, of course, if they're going to build public transport, get petrol into their planes and all that stuff, which they've got to figure out. Figure out the flight paths as well. All right. Now, I'm not an expert in building an airport. Airports, they take quite a few years to build. They have to renovate airports, cost money, the airport. Okay. Of course it does. I mean, it's planes cost money to run. You know, they cost a lot of money to put petrol in the plane and keep it going. And if flights get delayed or cancelled, the airlines are losing money. They're losing profit out of it. COVID had a big impact on the airline industry. Basically shut down non-essential travel. All the airports were pretty much closed. Okay. So my question for Chris Mins. How are you going to solve all these problems? Like getting more trains, frequent public transport for people out there, figuring out the flight paths, because there's nothing worse. You don't want to be sleeping at 10 o'clock at night and then have a plane fly over your roof, or, you know, at times I've even heard a bloody helicopter flying over at that time of the night. God, I hate that. So a lot of planning has to go into it. And the other question is, why is it taking so long? And how come this airport wasn't built like 50 years ago to take the pressure off Sydney International and Sydney Airport, because it's overcrowded? All right. That's, yeah, how it is, of course. Okay. I mean, what can I say? I feel that they just promise so many jobs, like they're promising too many jobs and all that, and we need to create more jobs and a better economy. But then, why don't things get done, and why are things very slow? Okay. That's how I see it. That's what it seems to me. I'll keep you guys updated on the Western Sydney Airport, because it's one of Australia's biggest projects, of course. So, I mean, obviously a lot of planning and the architecture's gone into this stuff. I'm not an expert on airports or how wind works or how many runways there've got to be. But when you drive past, you can see it like they're starting to build the airport. I just take one day at a time. All right. And yeah, that's all I can do. Is just take one day at a time. Clearly the population's growing, of course. All right, so there needs to be more public transport out there that's coming frequently. All right. And you remember when the police officer tasered a 95-year-old grandmother, Claire Nolan, in the aged care home? Well, he's avoided jail over Christmas. However, I think he was charged with manslaughter. Okay. Yeah, he was found guilty of manslaughter. I don't understand why a police officer would want to use a taser on an elderly woman. It was called to the Constable White, quote, Constable White was called to Yellenby Lodge at 5 a.m. when a staff member said Mrs. Nolan was acting aggressively and armed with a knife. Quote, Constable White gave the elderly woman several opportunities to drop the objects before he said bugger it and fired his taser at her chest. Quote, Daily Telegraph. So I don't know how this ended up happening. Now, Constable White will return to the courts on February 7th for sentencing submissions. But has the justice system done enough to bring justice? Okay. It's yeah, the courts have allowed him to remain on bail. All right, but yeah, I mean, what can I say? Okay. What can I say, honestly? Now, the police commissioner is apparently considering of removing him from the New South Wales police force. Okay. Yeah, it's just quite yeah, I mean, I don't know. All right, it's when you read something like this, it's just not good, and I don't understand how this could happen. All right, I just don't. It's yeah, very sad that this would happen in Australia or anywhere in the world. But anyway, other than that, Formula One's on in Qatar. Am I pronouncing that right? Qatar or Qatar? Yeah, Max Verstappen, he's doing pretty good to drive as fast as he can. Yeah, he's won a 4th championship in a row. So that's pretty good that he's done that and able to achieve it. Okay. But other than that, playing video games and enjoying my gaming as well, playing my Crash Bandicoot, playing PGA Tour 2K23, hit a hole in one. So I posted that on my Instagram and social media. I don't know what's going on with the left analog stick lately. I'm trying to hit a shot, and I just keep shanking the ball, hitting a 250-yard drive on a par 5, and then have to. It gets on the fairway, and then I'm going to have to either hit a driver off the deck to just try or have to get a 3-wood. Now, how come not many golfers like to use the driver off the deck? I mean, I'm not afraid to use it if you have to get the distance to lay up. But sometimes you just hit a bad tee shot. But I've found that in my experience playing PGA Tour 2K23, it's all about your short game. Your short game is what's going to help you win. And playing match play as well. You're playing that online. It's fun. Yeah. I guess just the more golf you play, the better you get. Playing on fast greens as well, changing the settings. So if you're playing stroke play, I tend to, if you want the challenge to, like, you can set it to like the most hardest difficulty, and the ball just goes everywhere. Hopefully they improve the game. Could start playing shots from out of the water. But, yeah, that's the fun of video gaming. Take your mind off on all this stuff that is happening. Alright. Crash Bandicoot as well has been fun to play. And Watch Dogs is a great game to be gaming with. Alright. Yeah. I feel that yeah, Watch Dogs is pretty good. It's a great game to play. Okay. And Ghost Recon Wildlands is bloody darn hard. That is some very hard game to master. Is Ghost Recon Wildlands. Oh my god. And yeah, Gran Turismo 7's been good. That's another game I recommend. Although they should make it more realistic with the car racing. Like the car racing crashes, for instance. Because you tend to crash in Gran Turismo 7 and then you don't even get a scratch on the car. So, I mean, they can make it more real life and realistic. They do that with F1 24, which is good. They try to make it as realistic. Making it as realistic as possible. Obviously, with settings, with Gran Turismo 7, I don't play it where they have strict track limits, or if you hit the wall, they give you a penalty just for bumping into the wall, which is stupid. You bump into the wall, you bump into the wall. Like, come on. You give someone a 3-second time penalty just for hitting the wall in a car race. Like, that's stupid. All right? That's, yeah. I mean, you try and drive the car as fast as you can, but then you're constantly thinking, because am I going to be in breach of track limits all the time? That's well, that's car racing in 2024, guys. Especially at the highest level, where they want to enforce track limits on every corner, and you try your best not to breach track limits, or because someone else bumps into you, you get the penalty. That's not fair. Oh, well. So I wonder if anyone is playing PGA Tour 2K23. GTA 5 Grand Theft Auto 5 is fantastic. Especially playing as Trevor. Trevor was the best character you could have in GTA 5. Hopefully, if they make it a Grand Theft Auto 6, that would be good. Is Call of Duty too overdone? You find that Call of Duty is just... I know Fortnite is a pretty popular game. I see pretty much a lot of people play Fortnite. I didn't get into Fortnite at all. Yeah, that's just... That's how I see it. Guys, I'm going to leave it there. I really enjoyed tonight's podcast here on the Stephen Shields radio show. It's always great to talk what's going on in the world. Again, I like to talk about a wide variety of topics of what's happening. Okay. Yeah. If you guys can subscribe to the Stephen Shields radio show, turn on your notifications as well. I publish new episodes every Friday at 6 p.m. Sydney, Australia time. Wish everyone all the best. Bye for now.